Evening, everyone. I'd like to make a quick announcement before we start. And okay, so I would like to welcome you to the Yosin lecture by Habib University Foundation. The Habib University Foundation is establishing a liberal arts and science university in Karachi called the Habib University. This lecture series has been initiated to provide a key forum for constructive discussion led by academics and practitioners from around the world. This is the Habib University poster. It's under construction. So this lecture is hosted by the Habib University. It will start, I think, inshallah, in 2013. Just a quick intro. We have Arif Hassan Saab here. Besides being a successful architect and urban planner, Mr. Arif Hassan is also a teacher, social researcher, and writer. He studied architecture at the Oxford Polytechnic in the United Kingdom and established an independent practice on his return to Karachi, dealing with urban planning and development issues. He has been a consultant and advisor to many national and international NGOs. Since 1982, he has been involved with the Orangi Pilot Project and the Urban Resource Center, Karachi. Mr. Hassan has received a number of awards for his work, including the UN AIR for the Shelterless Memorial Award, the Hilale Imtiaz of the Government of Pakistan. Recently, he was given a Lifetime Achievement Award by the Institute of Architects, Pakistan. On that note, we'll start our discussion. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for having invited me for this discussion. The last time I spoke here was some time ago. That was the first Asim Butt Memorial Lecture. And that was all about the evolution of the city. And that was a lecture with lots of slides and maps and tables. This one will be a little bit more boring, since it has none of that. It was very difficult for me to decide what to talk on, whether I should talk about social change in Pakistan in general, which is a lot of work has gone into that, which I've been doing for some time now, or should I focus on the city of Karachi? And I decided to focus on the city of Karachi since we are in Karachi. Much of what I'm going to say are a number of strands that have been woven together for this purpose. And the details of all this are present in my books and writings. So what I'll do is I'll read bits and pieces from my writings and add to them as I go along. So it'll be beginning with a little bit of nostalgia, misplaced nostalgia. Most nostalgia is misplaced actually, but a little bit of nostalgia. And then a lot of realism after that, hard realism. So I'll read a few pieces. Pre-partition Karachi's culture was that of a cosmopolitan colonial port. Like all such cities, its population was a mix of many migrant ethnicities living in their exclusive neighborhoods and a local proletariat. For example, the majority of the Gujarati-speaking population, both Hindu and Muslim, was engaged in business and trade. The Goans, by and large, were teachers, missionaries, white-collar workers, and some of them European-style entertainers. Most big businesses were run by the Parsis. Foreigners worked in overseas companies that managed port-related imports and exports. The Baloch population was the city's proletariat and lived in Liari. The majority of the population, by the way, was Hindu, and about 70% of the population was Sindhi or Balochi speaking. The Urdu Hindi population was about 6%. Like all port cities, Karachi had its bars and cabarets and places of entertainment, many of them for sailors or visiting ships. It had a thriving red light area, which was visited both by the working and merchant classes. The Europeanized ethnicities arranged May balls and dance parties in their gymkhanas, clubs, and commercial hotels. Their women wore dresses and skirts in public and private life. Most bars and billiard rooms and their associated eating places were multi-class, although some in Sadr were exclusively for the elite. All these communities had a strong urban culture, and it dominated the culture of Karachi's rural areas and coastal villages. As long as governance rested effectively with the colonial power, there were no ethnic or religious conflicts. However, the rise of nationalist movements and the weakening of the colonial power in the 20s and 30s saw the beginnings of concerns about the future among the weaker ethnicities and groups. After the creation of Pakistan, this most cosmopolitan Karachi culture continued to flourish. The city received poets, artists, journalists, writers, and painters and performers from all over India. They became a part of Karachi's culture and enriched it. This process of enrichment was supported by the Mahajir intelligentsia, which had strong left-wing roots, and the civil service which governed Karachi and belonged to an old, well-established colonial tradition. As a result, by 1978, Karachi's Sadr alone had 17 bars and billiard rooms, 4 music and dance schools, 18 bookshops, 2 clubs for sailors, 5 discotheques, 34 popular eating places, 4 with Goan music bands, and the city as a whole had 119 cinemas and numerous cabarets, of which 4 also had striptease shows. In addition, regular film festivals of films from different countries were arranged at local cinemas. The working classes also participated in them at regular cinema rates that were affordable to them. Students' debates, variety programs, meetings of professional bodies, and political gatherings were held in the Sadr halls and institutional buildings, and Karachi's student population participated in all these activities in a big way. Behind Radio Pakistan on Bandar Road, there was Funkar Gully, where musical instruments were made, repaired, and tuned. It was frequented by would-be radio and stage artists, and many of Pakistan's famous cinema stars and singers were picked up from here by producers and directors. Now, we have identified a lot of these people who are very old now, hustlers in bars, barmen, some artists who performed in the cabarets. Many of them are dead, but we've located them and interviewed them. And hopefully in my new book, which is coming up in 4 volumes, I don't know when it will be finished, all that will be included in this. But you know, nostalgia generally results in exaggeration and is unkind to the understanding of the processes of change. Therefore, it is important to sympathetically understand the changes that have taken place in the city's social environment. For without such an understanding, the creation of a tolerant city culture for the future, let alone a liberal one, is simply not possible. So let's try and understand this. In most of pre-partition Pakistan, especially in the rural areas, there was no physical and social mobility. The feudal system had complete control over the personal and property law of the peasantry and dominated the cities and towns of the country as well. So, a cosmopolitan Karachi was really an island in a sea of stagnation. I think this is something that has to be grasped. The changes in the rural and urban areas of the country, first as a result of large-scale migration from India, and then due to the introduction of Green Revolution technologies,